Hey y'all, I wanted to make a part 2 to my introduction to Ancient Anguish and cover a few more items as well as mention a few items I forgot to mention in my last video that I had intended to. So I'm going to get logged back into the game as my character that I started in the last video, Sarad. I'll enter my password and log in. So now I'm logged in, and if I type in look or L, then I can see where I am. And you always start in the common room of the Ancient Inn of Tantalon. And if I look at my inventory, you can see I have a few things here. I've got this club and a jacket. And so I can type in power up, and I will automatically wear that armor and put on that or get that weapon ready. Now, one thing that's different about Ancient Anguish is that usually when you quit the game or when the server is rebooted, you actually lose almost all of your gear. You might keep a few things between those sessions, and some of the newbie equipment and things like coins will be persistent through sessions, but for the most part, you will lose your equipment each time. And the game is kind of balanced around that mechanic. And so with each restart, you might have to go to some of the stores in the town and buy some new equipment, or go to some areas and get a few kills with other equipment so that you can get the equipment you need or that you really want. And so it doesn't take too long to get started back up once you quit and restart, but it does take a few minutes to get going. So one of the things that I didn't mention or talk about enough in my last video were some of the classes and the differences in those. So I'm going to make my way over to the fighter class hall right now. So to do that, I'll go south, and then I'll go 6 east to get to the major crossroads. I went one past it, and now 2 north and west, and now I'm in the Hall of Fighters. Now there's 11 classes in Ancient Anguish right now, and for beginners, a fighter is a good class. It's a damage dealing class. There's a couple of other fairly simple classes that would be good for beginners, like a cleric, which is a class that it can do some damage, but it's also kind of a tank, or it can be a healer as well. And so that one is probably a little bit better at solo play than a fighter, which is mainly a damage dealer. And then there's also a mage class, which is fairly straightforward, and that's also a damage dealer. Now, for all of those classes, if you ever want more information about them in the game, you can always type in help fighters from anywhere in the game, and you get some information about those classes. And you'll also get a list of the abilities that you have. So I have, as a fighter, a fury ability. I have special types of defense and different things that you can do. And so every class that you're interested in or you might want to play, you can always type in the help and get some more information about that class. Now that I'm here in the Fighters Hall, I'm going to check cost, and I can see that I can actually advance some things. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to advance my strength, and I'll type cost again, and I can advance again. So I'm going to advance Constitution, which should give me more health. Okay, so now if I type SC, I have 50 hit points, 50 spell points. If I type score, it gives me a more full readout, and I can see that my max is now 58. Before it was 50, and it went up 8 because I advanced my Constitution. So let's check cost one more time. I can't advance anything more. I need to go get some more experience before I do that. So one of the other things I didn't mention in my last video were around the rules of the game. So I'd encourage every new player to read the rules. If you type in help rules, it's going to give you all the rules of the game. And so read through these and make sure you kind of understand those before you get too deep into the game. Some of the key ones are you can only play one character at a time, and you can't write scripts. You can't automate your character in any way, and basically don't attack other players, right? So if you see another player or another player's pet or something like that, make sure you don't attack it. If you don't know what something is as a new player, use caution and don't attack things randomly without knowing if they're something of another player's. So one other thing I wanted to point out that I actually just discovered today was a new feature in the game. If I go back to the crossroads and then go back to the smithy, which was 6 west from the crossroads and then 1 south. Now in here, if you didn't have any equipment, you can say equipment, and this Willem character will give you some equipment. Now I already have something, so I'm not going to do that. But I did learn that there is a new feature in here that will help new players. And so if you ever want to see the new things added to the game, you can type in help new stuff, and that will give you a list of all the things that have been added recently to the game. And so this seems to be kept more up to date than what's on the website for some reason. If you look over here at the news, I mean, it goes back to 2022 in Treasure Islands, which I think that was a while ago, and there's been several additions since then. For some reason, the site has not been updated. I'm not sure why, but if we look through the new stuff listed here, there's this point right here. Willem now sells sprites in his smithy. They're great for helping players discover and understand the realm of Ancient Anguish. So we can get one of these and check it out, and that should be able to help you as a new player. Now there's a very long list of new features here, so if there's 1,013 lines, I'm not going to go through all of them, but yeah, this does get updated quite often, so it's fairly active in new additions to the game still, even after many years. So at any time, if you're on one of these menus, you can push Q and it will quit and leave that menu. So now if I look at the room, I can see there's this text here. In one corner of the room, bottles with little glowing lights are stacked on top of each other. So I can say, look at bottles. And then it talks about these bottles and kind of describes them, and then says maybe you could grab a Sprite. So I'll try that now. Grab Sprite. Now I have a bottle. I untwisted the lid, and I have a glowing ball of light that fluttered out of the jar, and I've got a Sprite on my shoulder, and I can type Chessa help if I need help. So I'll do that now. And then this just gives me some more information about things I can do. So at any time in the game, if I'm stuck on something, I can now type in these commands and say Chessa basics, and Chessa will tell me the basics of the game, and I can type these other subjects in as well, and she will give me some information about those. So definitely a cool little new feature that I previously was unaware of. Would recommend new players to check this out. Okay, with that, I'm going to now go through a little bit about maps and navigation in the game, which is a really important subject. As a text-based game, it's easy to get lost and have trouble figuring out where to go in the game. I'm going to leave the smithy, and I'm going to go 1 to the east, and I'm at the junction of Trader Lane and Main Street, and then I'm going to go south, I believe 3, and to my west is a building named Hans's Map Shop. So I'm going to go in here, and I can see that I'm in this shop, and this is where I can buy a map that will help me be able to navigate the game much better. It says there's a list on the bottom of the sign, so let's look at that. Read list. And this shows maps to all of the individual areas in the game. I wouldn't necessarily recommend these. You'd probably do better with the other maps, so I think I meant to type look at sign. Look at sign. Okay, here we go. And these are the maps that are probably the best for a new player to get one of these to help you navigate the world. I'd say buy the biggest one you can afford, and right now I have 216 coins, so I can just barely afford a small one. So I'm going to say buy small, and now I have the Wanderer's map. I can see it in my inventory when I type I. And so now if I type in read map, I get this nice little display. And these symbols represent different kind of terrain or different locations in the game. And this one right here is a city, and it highlights my location with these little angle brackets. And this city is Tantalon, so it just shows that I'm in Tantalon. Once I move out of the city or leave the city boundaries, then this will start updating with my current location. So as an example, if I leave the map shop, I'm going to go back up to Trader Lane and Main Street and then go to the east back to the crossroads. Now if I say read map again, I'm still in the same spot because I haven't left Tantalon. But again, once I leave the city boundaries, this will start updating. So if you want to be able to kind of align what you see here with the overall world of Ancient Anguish, there's actually a really nice map that you can use linked on the Ancient Anguish website. So if I come to the site and I go to Gameplay Other, Geography, and then I can open this one, the map of, I think it's Earth, I get this really large map that shows the whole structure of the game. And the way this is set up is you've got a legend at the top that describes what the different terrains and symbols mean, and then there's the coordinates. So if we look at where the 0 is, and then scroll down here and find the 0 on the y-axis, right here is Tantalon. That's where we are, and the crossroads is right in the middle of that. So there's a few points of interest right around Tantalon. It's the most populated kind of section of the game, I would say. The first thing to note is that the kind of wilderness area to the north of Tantalon tends to be a little less dangerous than the wilderness area to the west and southwest. Down in this area, there's more orcs and more aggressive creatures that will attack you when they see you. There's fewer of those to the north. So if you're just kind of going out to explore and wander around and find a few things to kill out in the wilderness, you might want to stick to the northern part for the first few sessions you play. Don't go too far north because it does get more challenging, but if you stay in this general area, you'll be pretty safe. So a few of the major landmarks right around Tantalon are Neville. So this is a city with a tobacco store where you can go buy that for healing. There is Nepeth. I think this is a human city, and there's like an arena in there, which is a nice place to go as a low-level character to get some kills. There's Delaire, which is an orc city, and then further up here is Habitat, and I think you'd be sent to most of these locations for the commodities exchange deliveries, depending on how far you get into that. So a few other areas of interest. In the prior video, we went to Tantalon Park, which is right outside of Tantalon. It's at -1, -1 coordinates. And then there's also the Haunted Manor, which is another really good newbie starting area that you can go to. Further up here would be the Haunted Shipwreck at 523. So another nice newbie area, along with the Thicket, which is over right here at this -10, -6. All of those are really good areas to go to as a newbie. So then, if you're asking, is there an easier way to tell exactly where you are in the game world? Yes, there is. And so I'm going to go to the quick start guide, or actually I think it's under, I put this under newbie topics. And if you go to prompt, so the prompt you see is basically just this little character right here when you type a command, it displays it. Now, by default, you don't really see anything. What you can do is select a prompt that will display much more information and be much more useful for you. And so I've got some of this documented here if you read through it, but basically you can just copy this command here. Copy that, I'm going to paste it in here, and this is going to change my prompt to be this, which for when I play, this is much more useful. It shows your current hit points, your maximum hit points, current spell points, maximum spell points, the amount of experience you've earned for your current session, which mine is negative because I advanced my attributes earlier, and so that actually takes away experience, and so that's why it's showing negative. And then most importantly, it shows your X and Y coordinates. And so I'm at 0, 0 in Tantalon, and so I'm going to go up to the Haunted Manor and show you what kind of how this changes. So the Haunted Manor is at 2, 0, so X coordinate 2, Y coordinate 0. So I'm going to go up there and go to the east. And I'm sorry, it was at 1, 2, not 0, 2. But at this place, now I can see I can go northeast. Now, going here will enter me into the Haunted Manor. So I will do that now by typing NE. And now I'm in the manor. So this is a really good newbie area to go through. And yesterday I showed how to download the maps for those kinds of areas. So I'm going to open that back up. I had this zip file I had downloaded and go to maps. We'll go to the Haunted Manor, open that up. And here is a map of what this looks like. And you can see this is the entry point. And you can see I have exits to the north and southwest. And then it just kind of shows an outline of where different things are. And you can go through this and explore as much as you want. So if I go north, I'm now in this room. I can see there's a ghost here. So I'm going to try to kill this ghost. Now it's going to take a while because I'm so low level and very weak right now. I can try to use some of the fighter skills to improve my attacks. So I am going to use something called Berserk. So fighters have a special defense mode called Berserk. I'm going to turn that on. And what that does is it basically tells me to ignore defense and just try to do as much damage as possible. And I will do more damage. I will also take a bit more damage as well, but on the whole, it's kind of an improvement for a fighter. So I'll be hitting him for a couple minutes, trying to get him down. And then after I get through him, I'm going to show you where to go to heal and what that looks like in this map. One thing I like to do on these maps as I play is add comments to them and help me remember where things are. I use Foxit PDF Reader, and it has this useful comment feature and especially this call out option. So what I like to do sometimes is if I find something that's especially important or something I'd like to remember where it is, I will go to this call out and I'll click on the room and drag a box from it, and then I can just add a comment about whatever it is. So like the butler's ghost is here, so I might want to call that out so I remember it in the future. So I'll just say the butler's ghost, and then I can expand this, and you can edit the font and all things like that. If you're interested, you can select it and then come over here and change the settings as much as you want. I just like to do that, especially for the more important things, so that I can quickly go back to them later. Okay, he is in battered state, so that means he's, I think, more than halfway dead at this point. So hopefully not too much longer, and we'll be through him. And as you play this game and get some kills, you will get more abilities and things to do with your various classes. But just because I'm so low level right now, there's not much that I can do at this point. I can turn Fury back on. So if I want to say defend, whoops, he just died, so I won't be doing that now. I can check his corpse to see if he has any loot, and there's nothing there, so nothing for me to take. But I have taken some damage. I'm down to 30 hit points, so I'm going to go heal. And so to do that, again, I'm right here. I'm going to go north to this B1, and now I can see there's an exit going up. And so if I go up from B1, I will go to B2. I'll type in U for up, and then there's this room here that says heal, so I'll go west. And again, as you play, you'll want to read through all of these descriptions, and you can look at different things in the room, and you can search them, and you can interact with them, you can touch things, you can small things, look at things, all that sort of thing, so you can kind of understand what's going on. But I'm in this room now, and I can see that there is a bed against the north wall. So if I type in look at bed, and it says, you know, it's a lovely canopied bed that looks very comfortable, maybe you should try to get some sleep. And so you'll notice that I am healing very slowly. My health went from 30 to 31, 32, 33. If I type sleep, then I will lay in that bed and I should start recovering health much faster. While I'm in bed, because this is a haunted manor, I will have some nightmares and you'll see some flavored text on the screen, but you don't have any negative effects from that. It's just a part of the experience. So it will take a few minutes to heal up while you're sitting here, but it's much faster than not using this bed. Now you can't use this bed indefinitely. I think it only works up to level, I want to say 5, but after that point, you won't be able to use it anymore. Once you're done there, you can actually go to a different place in the map, the East Road Inn, where you can get some sleep, and then kind of does the same thing, but it's not free. You actually have to pay money for that one. So if we go back to this map real quick, and we look where we are, we're at the Haunted Manor, 1, 2. Just 2 above that is the East Road Inn. So above level 5, you can go here and sleep and get kind of the same effect. Okay, well, with that, I think I am done with this video. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions for more content, please leave me a comment. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.